Good afternoon, everybody. I am Zeeshan Afzal, Head of Capital Markets at Faisal Bank. Today this session is about how to write a winning research report. This is a part of your CFA Institute Research Challenge 2023 and 2024. So I will be conducting this session today. And first of all, the housekeeping rules. This session, we will try to contain this session within 1 hour. However, we will take as many questions as we get them. So we will try to answer every question, whether through chat box or raised hand. So during this session, you will be muted. So I would appreciate if all the questions are handled by the end of the session. All participants are requested to keep their videos off. Please keep your videos off. During this session, I will request you to turn on your video, those who wishes to turn those on for the group photo, and after that you can again turn it off. Question and answer, as I explained earlier, will be at the end of the session. At the end of the session, I will request you to please raise your hand, or submit your question through the chat box, and this session will be recorded. So I will start. I think a lot of people and students are here. So let's start from here. So I hope everyone is seeing my screen. Just let me. Okay. So first of all, before starting with the formal session, so I believe that all of you have started preparing for your research challenge. I believe that you would have read sufficient research material on the company and on the industry, and also working on the financial model. If you're not, so I would suggest don't wait till the last second. So this is time is very short. So I understand you guys are all students. You have your own assignments or related to your studies. But I have conducted few sessions before as well, and have been mentor for last maybe 5 or 7 years. So I understand that you need to start working from the very first day. Now, I believe that you have read research report by a lot of research houses, specifically sell-side research firms. So, and I would also suggest you, if you have access, then you should also try to see what winning or at least submitted reports look like. So I am talking about the CFA Research Challenge. So if those are available, I would suggest you to please have a look so that you have a clear idea of what you are expected to do, and what is the base case requirements, and you obviously have to improve and value add on it. You have a team, maybe 4 people, maybe 6 people. So you need to assign each team member a different task relevant to their experience at the courses. So, and the one of you would be actually compiling and coordinating with all of you. So he or she will be like a team leader. But I would suggest you to assign tasks. You need to split your work into different pieces, and then assign each member with a clear assignment. On the research report, you need to build a story. It's not a simple buy-sell call. So your graders, your audience, and everyone have heard about this company. They want what they don't want you to just tell them whether it's a hold, a buy, or sell. So you need to convince them as well. So you have to be clear. First of all, you have to be clear on your call. So what brings you clarity? Only the knowledge. When you have a knowledge, you have sufficient knowledge, sufficient research, sufficient backing of the financial model, only then you will be clear on your call. So at that time, you will be able to not only pitching on the strong point, but also on the negative. You will be able to address the negative points as well, and point out the mitigants of those negative points as well. So in the research report, you should it should not be all wordy. It should be in the bullet point with proper paragraphs and with the heading, and heading should be informative. So so that the reader has some interest in the report and they want to continue with reading them. So I would suggest you to start with making a skeleton of the report rather than start writing it. First of all, you need to have your clear call, whether it's a buy, sell, or hold, and what are the points basing on that call. And then you have to make a skeleton, make a a rough idea with the headings which what you want to put and what you want to convey to the reader. And after that, when everything is clear, then you start populating everything. You start filling those paragraphs and with the words, with the sentences, and with the graphs and charts. This is the standard scorecard on which this report will be graded. So there are about 7 sections of this report, and obviously one is the main first page paragraph of summarizing everything. But although that page is very important, so I will come to that point in the next slide. But CFA Institute have pointed out these 7 criteria based on which a grader will be evaluating your report. First of all is business description. You will see only 5 marks, 5 points, 5% weightage. But this is important. Every point matters. So this is about the information, about the basic information about the company, in what industry they are, what is the competition like situation. So I will come to each point in detail in the next slides, but I'm just putting a summary here. So second one is the industry overview and competitive positioning. This has 10 marks. And you can see that most of the points are with the investment summary, valuation, and financial analysis. It doesn't matter whether you issue a hold call or buy call or sell call. What matters is how do you defend it? How do you present your investment thesis, and how convincing you are in your arguments? And of course, how comprehensively you have covered the risks. The last point is the ESG. So this is important area, and CFA Institute has allocated 15% marks on the ESG. So so this year you will be having report on Interloop Limited. So they are doing uh, some good things on the ESG front. But even if you find something which is not environmentally friendly, but you can always think of the idea how that company is trying to mitigate those areas. Like last year, it was a fertilizer, a cement company which uses coal. So coal means not environment friendly, but if a company is investing a lot of money to reduce the carbon footprint, so now it is positive. So even if you think that this company is not doing great on ESG front, so you can always put it in the proper words. Okay, before going on, I believe that I will ask Javeria if we can have a group's photo. Javeria.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking the participants are still joining, so can we wait for like 10
Okay,
minutes?
sure.
We
Let's
still
wait
have
for 10
participants.
more minutes. So it's 15. So we will take group photo on 25.
Okay, fine.
Okay, this is feel and look. So first of all, you need to you need to work on your report presentation. How does it appear to the reader? So this is the first thing a grader will look at. So you should understand, you should appreciate that those graders are industry specialists. They are very busy people, and they are not here to read only one report of 10 pages. So they would probably have maybe 4 or 5 reports in front of them, which they want to read. So your report should appear formal. So let me admit some. Okay. So there are no, first of all, there are no specific marks for them. but this is very important. So it should be for reader friendliness. It includes everything like font size, font style, whether it's professional or not, whether it is easy to read or not, and then how you have formatted your report, like what are the colors you have used, whether those are formal and whether those are easy to have a look on it. So you need to work on this. What you can do is look at a lot of reports. You will have a fair idea whether which suits you. So you can always you guys are all allocated with industry mentors, so they have all the access to those reports. And you can have your own format, or you can seek guidance from the existing reports. So here you can see two reports in front of you. On the left, it is a report which has a lot of bullet points, and each bullet point heading is explaining what's inside the paragraph. So, but on the right side, you have to read the whole paragraph to understand what you are actually want to say. So, though both pages would have the same information, but on the left side, when a reader is reading, they have an idea what's inside, and if they want to skim through and if they want to reach to a specific point, they can easily reach there. But on the right side, a reader has to read everything on this page to get to what you are actually saying, and there is not even a summary of what is the conclusion. So on the left side, you can see there are bullet points which are concluding everything. So now the business description, which had 5 points. So these points are only 5, but I would say that these are the easiest points you can score. So what you need to do is simply describe what does this company do, in what industry they are, what is the competitive structure, what is the industry structure, what are the government policies. You can add everything which you want to add, but just keep in mind it has only 5% marks and you are limited with the 10 pages of total report. So you don't have much space available. So you need to filter out which information you want to put in and what to omit. So I would suggest you to briefly discuss the industry, their main products, and what this company does, how, whether it's a market leader or or a new startup or something like that. And you can also discuss the geographics footprint, and then strategic advantages. But I would suggest you that you can also put in some further analysis. What is the bargaining means bargaining power of the buyer or the suppliers, or the competition structure currently, what competition structure they are in. So you can discuss those things as well in this section. On the next, industry overview and competitive position. So now it's a build up from the industry from the business description. Now you're building on this industry or current position of this industry. So here you can also, these are a bit similar. So business description, you put in the basic information, what this industry is and what this company does and what is the corporate structure. But in the industry overview and competitive positioning, you can discuss that what is the current supply and demand position, what is the sales volume of this industry, and how they are competing with each other. You can see that these ideas are a little bit overlapping. You don't, and it would be a good idea to have a heading of each section which CFA Institute has pointed out. But you can see that there some information would be maybe duplicated because something was also relevant for the business description as well, and on the competitive positioning as well. So you need to decide where you want to put in details and where you want to just touch the idea. So here in industry overview, you can tell them the key drivers are the catalyst for the company. So these are the five forces you can mention here, and you can just discuss them in the business description section. And on the bottom of this slide, you can see two reports here. So this is just an idea to give you an idea how a good, informative, and reader-friendly report uh, look like, and the same information or similar information which we put as a same analysis is being put here on the right hand side, but it is not as elaborative and as friendly as on the left side. So I would suggest you can put in a lot of charts. So just to give you an idea, you are talking about demand and supply. So you can write a paragraph about the sales volume and the sales volume, sales value, and the growth rates. And instead, you can just put a chart here, which is a bar chart, and you are showing progress over sales progress over the years, and with the line showing the growth rate. So the same information which you put in a paragraph, you have successfully put that information in a chart, which is interesting, which is easy to read, easy to comprehend, and it and the reader doesn't lose any interest in the report. The next, industry summary. So now, sorry, investment summary. So now we are coming to our investment thesis. So previously we have discussed the industry. Now this is the report where we have started discussing about the company, about the company, and we are starting with the valuation call. So it is your decision how you want to put this information, how and where you want to put it. So you can rearrange those sections. So, but I am just going in the sequence which CFA Institute mentions, but it doesn't it is allowed if you are convinced that you need to relocate it. So here, investment summary, you will start with your recommendation. So this is the conclusion. This is not like bottom up approach here. Hold on, please. Sorry. Uh, so on the investment summary part, so this is the conclusion of the company. So here by reaching here, you would have analyzed, you have made your financial model, you are firm on your valuation, you have pointed out all the key triggers or key drivers which leading towards your investment call, and then you have applied all the valuation techniques, and then you are starting with the investment summary here. So you are putting up your conclusion first, and then start elaborating it and pointing out what are the basic points which you think are an investor should consider and would be driving this stock's performance. So so I would suggest you that your recommendation should be straight, clear, and prominent. So it should not be like you should not look confused in your call. So if you are a buy, then it's a buy. If it's a sell, then it is a sell. Then you have to convince it, and you have to put every effort to convince the reader that it's a sell. So you here in the investment summary, there, okay, I think that there could be a lot of factors which would be leading to that investment call, but you don't need to include everything here. So it's not like you have to uh, disclose everything. It's you need to decide which factors are important, which sectors have material impact, and then you will put it in the report. So the order of those points could be anything. Like you can start with the most the most relevant to the least relevant, or you can also link it with each other. So hypothetically, there could be a scenario where you think that volume will increase, and then margins will also increase, and then other income will also come. So these are the three calls. So I understand that one criteria would be that other income would be very large. So you are putting other income on the top, and then you are putting volume, and then you are putting margins. But another idea would be that you are going through the sequence. So first is volume, and then margins, and then other income. So you need to decide. So how do you want to sequence those bullet points? But I would suggest you to hear risks as well. So this is the investment summary. No investment summary is complete without the risk. So you need to not elaborate, but discuss in a single paragraph or a short paragraph the basic risk, and very short and firm and means crisp explanation how those risks are not material or would be handled. Okay. Now the financial analysis. This is basically your financial model. So you have prepared your financial model, and you know what the sales would look like, what margins would look like, and other income, admin cost, taxation structure, and the balance sheet. So here you need to elaborate those points. So reader focus area is definitely volumes and pricing, margins, capex, and yes, capex assumptions are important. Financial charges, then cash flows, capital structure, and profitability. So these you have noticed these all things are already in your financial model. You have already worked on it. You just need to uh, uh, show it to the grader that the results of your financial model, and tell them that you have a sound backing of your own analysis. So what the grader will assess here, they will assess how what is your understanding. So you have made your financial model, but what is your understanding of those drivers interlinking with each other? So here financial concepts are very important. So you can simply say that this section is actually very important. It has 20 marks, but it is important because through this section you are showing your financial model. So how good you are at financial modeling, how in-depth analysis is being conducted, will be shown through this section. So again, try to keep it user friendly, try to keep it as informative as you can do, and use a lot of graphs in infographics, and I would suggest you an informative graphs rather than just making the graph. I have seen a lot of reports with just graphs there. So they are not giving you any information in that graph. So an informative graph is something that if a reader look at that graph, they have the complete idea what's going on. So like if, for example, you can have a graph of the sales volume, and then another graph of the margins, and then another graph of the profitability, are the financial charges. But if you put a graph here where it is showing volumes and also the margins, so now if, and assuming if the volume is going up and the margin is remaining stagnant or dipping down, so it gives readers a lot of information that here in the financial model, this analyst is assuming volumes are going up, but because of anything, because you might have explained, but because of some factors, margins are going down. So this gives a complete better information what you are actually want to see. So this thing also can also happen with the financial charges, and you can relate it with the debt structure. So you can make a chart where you are explaining the debt part, and then the financial charges part. So you can combine both things in one graph. So, and with the proper heading, with the crisp proper heading, like if you are saying on my previous example, if you are saying that these are the volumes and these are the margins, and the heading is simply that volume growth, but competition get fierce. So now it is telling me everything. Instead of writing a whole paragraph, you have shown everything in this graph, that you are telling them the volumes are improving and the numbers are there. So, but because of the competition, margin is declining. Valuation, again, very important part. So again, this part is already being done by you through the financial model. Now you have to explain it. So reader, I believe that you will be submitting your financial model, but you have seen that there are no specific marks for the financial model. You have marks for this section here. So this is the 20 section marks. So practically financial model gets 40 marks at minimum. So yes, whole report is based on the financial model, but specifically two sections of 20 marks each are are deriving from the financial model. So this is the valuation section. So here you will be explaining. You have already told them what your buy call is, sell call is, and what are the key drivers. Here you will be explaining how you arrive at that call, what is your target prices, and how you reach those target prices. Here the right approaches and the number of approaches matter. So what valuation models you have used and which one you have relied upon, and those which are not relevant, how do you defend that case, and how do you tell them that this is not relevant? Like if there's a banking company, you would say that price to book and book value is a more relevant one, so we have allocated a higher weightage to this company. If a company is very high in dividend yield, and you can say that this dividend policy is sustainable, and investors are actually investing because of this dividend. So the dividend is the case. Then you can say that dividend discount model. I'm allocating higher weight to the dividend discount model, but you need to evaluate this company on the range of investment techniques, and then come at your target price with your perceived weightages of those models. So like you can simply say that I have done DCF valuation and then relative valuation. So I'm putting and giving 60% weight to DCF and 40% weight to the relative valuation. So I believe that this is not sufficient. You need to defend why are you allocating 60% to the DCF. So just because you have heard that DCF valuation is a good valuation technique, so rather than doing relatives, you have to do DCF. So it's not good here. So you need to defend your each and every case. You have to defend your each and every assumption. How do you arrive? So in DCF, you will be using WAC or the KPM model. So you need to giving information regarding the each and every assumption you have taken, like what the risk-free rate you have taken and why this rate you have taken, what is the industry risk premium, what is the beta of this company, and then the capital structure for the WAC calculations, and what is the interest rate forecast you have taken. So just understand that here that you are not expected to have a very solid, very uh, clear macroeconomic cause. So let's say Pakistan is is on a low growth phase. So just because Pakistan is low, so and you are spending a lot of time on forecasting your inflation forecast, and then GDP growth, and then interest rate. So here I would suggest you to discuss it with your mentor and come up with a uh, relevant with a reasonable forecast. It's not like that you can put just 10% GDP growth for Pakistan. So but irrelevant, like Pakistan ke case mein maybe 2 to 3% or 4% may be fine. Here another idea would be you can use some reputable firms forecast. So reputable firms, I mean, you can use IMF forecast. IMF issues their report, and I believe that in October they have issued another report. So they don't give targets for the interest rate and the PKR rate, but they give targets about the GDP growth and inflation. So you can use those forecasts, and some other sell side research houses, you can use those forecasts. Don't spend too much time on those macroeconomic assumptions. Those assumptions are important to come at your valuation, but do not spend too much time because you are not expected to do macroeconomic analysis here. On the ESG part, so I've explained earlier, so you need to see what this company is actually doing to on this front. So limit these coal emissions, water use. So here, in your case, Interloop, I believe that coal is not relevant here, but water use could be relevant, or how much they are actually doing on the green energy front. So regarding governors, so corporate governors, you can discuss those things. So here, for your guidance, I would suggest you to read their report. A lot of companies cover this area in their in their annual report, and I would suggest you to also read the reports of their competitors. So you will have an idea where industry is going and where Interloop is. And secondly, you can also use, rather than going with their techniques, with their analysis which they have presented in their report, you can also independently analyze that company on some other benchmarks or matrices which other organizations have made to evaluate a company on the ESG front. So I know that World Bank has a matrix, has a scoring matrix. So you can use that, or some other company if you want to use. So you can come up with your own score for this company on the ESG. Investment risk, these are important. So uh, this part does not carry a lot of weight, but this is important, and you need to ensure that almost all the risks are covered, all the material risks are covered, and risk should be, means bigger risks or the major risk should be on the top, and then you can sequence those risks. And identification of risk is not just important, mitigants are also important, because just because you will say that this company has a bigger risk and you will stop there, then and reader will think that if it materializes, then this whole investment case will not hold. So you need to point out the mitigants, like interest rate risk. You are saying that interest rate will go up, and if the interest rate go up, in their profitability will go down. So this is the risk. But what could be the mitigants? Mitigants could be this company is delevering. They are aggressively paying off their loans. Another mitigant could be they are trying to they are actually converting from fixed rate to floating rate, KIBOR linked rate. So if the another mitigant could be interest rates are going down. So yes, I understand that interest rate can go up, but analysis and the inflation trajectory indicates that interest rate will go down, and here this company will be a major beneficiary of, because of its leveraging, because most of the hit on the profit they have already taken in terms of financial charges. But now when interest rate will come down, their profit will be higher. So you can even use that risk in your advantage as well. So this is up to you, how do you want to manage that section. But I would suggest you here that you can also you can use a matrix type structure or something where you are making a grid and explaining the scenarios. How do you how means how do you see those risks materializing, and what will be the impact on that company if that risk materializes. These are the general tips. So I'm done with the most of the individual sections. So here, these are the general tips for you. First of all, there is no correct way to write an equity research report. You will see a lot of sell-side research report, and you will not see any ESG part covered there. You will see a lot of research reports where you will not see maybe company description there, and other ideas, other sections would be included, or the sequence will not be the same. So each sell-side research report is written by keeping in mind what their reader, who their readers are. So here, your reader is the grader, not a fund manager or someone else. So it's a grader, and who has a specific grade from the CFA Institute, and they will be evaluating on the section which I have already highlighted. But how do you want to sequence it? How do you want to present it? This is completely up to you. So I will suggest you try to have a heading, informative and catchy. So you can compromise on the catchy part, but don't compromise on the informative part. So I understand there would be a urge that you would like to put very catchy or very good heading which have come to your mind, and you want to put it. But if it is not adding in any information, it is not highlighting what you are actually discussing in the paragraph, I would suggest you don't go for it. Again, secondly, visually appealing reports will make the reader want to read. So actually, yes, a grader has an obligation to read, but you should also make them want to read. So this is your target. So what you can do is, first of all, I've told you that reader-friendly report like font size and font colors and the headings should be appropriate here, and a lot of graphs, and I would say informative graphs would help you a lot here. Infographics, you can use a lot of infographics to not only support, yeah, even replace your text with those infographics. So it will be easy to read. It will have a more uh, but usually I guide. It is very easy to write a paragraph or even a page, but it is very difficult to put everything you have discussed in that paragraph in a single graph. So it shows effort. It shows that you are clear what you are telling. So it takes you a lot of time. It is not easy to make a graph, but it shows that your analysis is complete. Your punchline is this, that graph example I told you earlier, that your punchline is volumes are improving, but margins are declining. So this is the punchline, and you have shown it in your chart and infographics, and then your a half paragraph or 1.5 sentence would be enough to support everything rather than writing a whole paragraph or two. Again, try to make the reader's life easy. So a messy mm, um, or the report which is not in the sequence, so it would be very difficult for the reader to read, and definitely it will have consequences on the marks. And then this is simple content and detail is equal to the assigned marks. So this is very simple. So it is my suggestion is, if the marks are less, then don't uh, consume a lot of space on that area. So it gives you an idea of what type of depth which is expected from your side. But here I would not say that a section which has only 5 marks, it doesn't mean that this is not important and you can put some basic work there. It doesn't mean that. It simply means that you need to uh, convey all the messages which you have in a less space, if that have 5 marks. And yes, it is expected to not go in very detail, but it also means that usually there is not much detail, but in that area you have to fill everything. You have to mention everything. So one general tip is try to use active voice. Passive voice is more confusing. It shows lack of confidence. So when I'm saying I will be doing it, so it shows my commitment. Rather, it will be done. So a formal language, try to use formal language. For this, I would simply suggest you to read few reports of the sell-side firms or the previous year research challenge report, and you will have a fair idea what type of language which is expected. Okay, and then be concrete and concise. So I think you understand that here word count doesn't matter. Yes, there is a guidance of the 10 pages, but it doesn't mean that you have to fill pages to score marks. It's It's the quality of the work which matters, not the quantity. Explain your story in the body. Sport goes in next year. So here I would in the paragraph you only need to present your story, which present your thesis, not the actual data. Data, your graphs, and every additional information can go in the next years. But here you need to put in the basic information, and then your main crux of the thesis, and then back up your assertions with proof. Numbers can be actually here numbers are maybe 90% of the time numbers are the proof. Yes, 10% of the time there could be something else which could be a proof for your assumption or your statement, but here most of the time it will be the number which will be backing your analysis. Here now 2-3 points regarding you need to explain company's future. When you are having a buy call, it doesn't mean that you are saying that this company is good only for 1 year. If it's a good company, then it means that you have prepared a financial model for at least 5 years, and then when you have allocated a terminal value, then it means that you have used the assumption that this company will continue this path. So it means that you are giving a call regarding on the company's future. So you need to explain that future as well, rather than just because the call is for 1 year and you will also explain a trigger of 1 year. So that doesn't matter. So you need to explain company's future, what are their 5 year target, what are their 10 year target, and how well they performed on their previous 5 years. Be independent and objective. So this is linked with a vision. Here I would say that you're not in the marketing team of that company. So it is a very fine line between being persuasive and being to start marketing. So here you need to evaluate and balance your arguments, and it should not look like that you are biased or you are just marketing it and you are just reading out their annual report, what they have written. So you are simply broadcasting it. So if you have something positive about the company, you can always put that information if you believe on it. But you can also come up with your own understanding and your own analysis of that company. Like if a company says that in 5 years I want to be $100 million company, okay, fine, you can say that, but you can have your own analysis that we have analyzed that these are the factors. Their volumes are growing at 20% per annum. If it continues, so I expect that it will grow at least 15 to 18% per annum, and it will. My assumption is my analysis is that this company will be $110 million company in 5 years, or $90 million in a company in 5 years. So point is that you are presenting your own analysis as well, instead of just marketing the company's goals or whatever company has written or advertised in their annual reports. Try to avoid the fillers. So you need to evaluate your each and every word, every sentence, whether it is relevant here, whether it adds value, and only if the answer is yes, you need to put it. You have to be very ruthless. You have to be very ruthless. I'm repeating it. So you will be have a temptation to use everything you have analyzed, everything you have written. So I have put an effort on it, so I will put it in. So you need to evaluate each and everything. You need to make a case and only put that information which is relevant for that case. Just keep in mind, this is an academic competition. So here your basic concepts and your understanding on those concepts, and how perfectly, how good you have applied those concepts and valuation techniques to arrive at your valuations matters. It doesn't matter what call you are making. it doesn't matter what other people are saying. So you can have a cell call, but if you are able to sufficiently defend your case, you have employed most of your valuation technique which you have learned, and your understanding is very good, then there should not be any problem with your report or the presentation. One thing which we have not discussed is the first page. So first page is actually important because this is the page which a reader or a grader will look at. So this is the summary of your entire 10 pages report. So probability, there is a higher probability that if every grader will be reading that page. There could be a lesser probability that reader will read the whole 10 whole pages, but I would say that 100% probability goes to that reader will be reading the first page with full concentration. So this page is very important. You need to put relevant information here. Here you need to describe the business a little bit. You need to put in your investment cases here. You need to inform them what valuation techniques you have used. So everything, and even the investment risk and the ESG part. So everything which you have done in the 7 sections and 10 pages, you have to summarize that in the one page. And don't forget, it should be reader friendly. It should not be messy. It should not be too congested. So this is the page which will take a lot of time of you. This I would suggest you to make it at the end. Few mentors will ask you to make it at front. So it's up to you how do you want to do it, but I would suggest you to make it at the end, because once you have the whole idea in front of you, you know your report, what is your call, what is your thesis, and what are the risks. Only then you summarize those sections and put it in the front page. Again, and this first page conclusion are up in front. So your conclusion, whether it's a buy call, sell call, just that's the conclusion. And how do you arrive that? How do you arrive that investment call is like 3-4 bullet point, like you are projecting sales volume will be increased, inflation will come down, so interest rate will come down, and financial charges will come down. So these are all the parts which will come up first. And last thing, which I think I have mentioned earlier, do not wait. I understand that you have a lot of work on regarding your studies, but do not wait for the last second, because I have seen a lot of good effort being wasted because some of the students waited till last second. Okay, कर लेंगे, हो जाएगा, अच्छा अभी टाइम नहीं है, बाद में कर लेंगे. तो what happens is, so in my experience, what happens is almost every teams put in almost equal effort, but winning teams are those which have completed their work about a week or 10 days before the deadline, so that they have sufficient time to do all those things which are currently being shown on this slide. Because if you're doing in the last second, you are just trying to score minimum. So you are just trying to complete the task. You are not, you should have time to evaluate each and everything. So how to improve it? How can you improve that graph? How can you improve that paragraph? I think this wording is not appropriate. It gives a confusing argument. So let's rephrase it. So you should have a time for this. And believe me, although it would be maybe 10%, it will consume 10% of your total time, but it will have impact of about maybe 30% or 50% on your scoring. So that's it from my side. So now I would request Veria to have a group photo, and after that we will go to the question and answer session.
Thank you, Zeeshan. It was a really extensive training. I wanted to request all the participants to switch on their cameras so I can have a group photo collage for social media update. Take your time. I mean, like, you can take like 20 seconds. Ready. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's start with the question and answer session. So you can raise your hands or put your question in the Q&A box or the chat box. So
If anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand. I will unmute you and then you can ask your question. I suppose they have no questions.
I believe I explained everything. No, one question is here.
Okay.
Was the first page referring to business description? No. First page is the summaries. Okay. One thing I can do is I can share with you last year report, which last year means few year back report, which was actually submitted in the research challenge and had some recognition. So it would help you. Yes. I believe everybody is seeing that report here. Okay, so this is the first page. So here you can see that this is the research actually submitted research report. So this is on the Maple Leaf company. So here a brief about the company which is discussed here. So about the company and industry and everything. So basic information which is relevant for a reader to start with the report. So they have told the PKR rate and KIBOR assumption and the current market price, and then their valuation cost, which is upfront, target prices here, and then basic information on the stock market side. So on their key ratios and the stock prices, and then valuations here. Valuations are here, and then investment summary. They have elaborated in the infographics here. And the investment summary, business risks are here, investment summary is here, and then the investment call is here. So this is the investment summary. This is the first page which I was referring to. Then you should work on it. So on the at the last of your report. So this is actually the crux of your report, which a reader, if a reader do not have time and they also want to have an idea in 5 minutes what you have written, so you can mention it here. So just taking this opportunity to explain the next part. So just to show you this report. So this is the business description part, which is done here, and simple corporate structure, and then their strategic positioning is mentioned here, and then industry analysis and competitive landscape. And you can see that how they have used the graphs. Their report is not font size reasonably okay. Font style is professional, and it's not like that the reader has to make an effort to read that report. So wherever they find that this sentence is important, this phrase is important, they have highlighted it, and they have put same information in. They have tried to explain everything in the graphs and charts as well. Here, which is a beautiful thing, is they have explain which section we are. Although everyone can read that this is the section, but they have made sure that every reader knows and what page they are on and what is coming ahead. And then this is the industry positioning going on. Then they have discussed the demand and supply and price dynamics. And then the macroeconomic and political environment. You can see that this is not mentioned anywhere, but they have put it in the industry analysis section. So because they thought that this is important for their theme, for their investment call, so they put it here. They put in some detail regarding the global economy because energy prices are relevant here, and then the Pakistan economy because of the inflation and interest rates are important. So they have briefly discussed this economy and then the political structure, and then they come up back towards the company. So they explained how it is has an impact on the company, on the industry. So what they have done something extra, but linked it with their company, with their analysis. So now this is the investment summary. Again, buy call. They have a buy call. They have highlighted what a good what they want reader, what they actually want to ensure reader reads. So they have highlighted that part. So these are the key punchline, key strong points of the company, which they think are relevant, which are leading to that investment call. So they have mentioned it here. They have with the infographics, you have explained that how they arrive at the 31 rupees uh, value. They have in a single graph, they have showed that they have used free cash flows and then relative valuation. They have used 75-25% weightages, and then in each relative, what matrices they have used, and they have allocated equal weights to those matrices. So here they have explained energy mix. So now the valuation part. Here you can see that they have put in their basic model numbers, though what is the enterprise value, that how they calculate arrived at the equity value, and dividing with the number of shares, they come up with the fair value of this company based on the DCF valuation methodology. Here they have explained their each and every assumption, like cost of equity, how they have arrived at the cost of equity, why this terminal growth rate is used, and what is the WACC. So next is financial analysis. Here you can see that financial analysis is here, and I think that this is not uh, financial analysis. This is not in order which CFA Institute used. In CFA Institute, financial analysis was earlier. So valuation was at the last, I believe. So they have used their own sequence. It doesn't matter as long as they can sequence their report accordingly. So they have done the financial analysis, simple financial model, how they have prepared, what is the revenue and profitability assumption, how do they arrive with their forecast of the revenue and the profitability, and what are the key inputs for that company. Like in Interloop, I might be able to suggest you that uh, uh, dollar rate would be important factor because it's an export-oriented company, and on the input side, you can see energy cost and the raw material cost. These are the two important things here. So here they have discussed the energy cost, and then they have explained the cash generation, um, and then DuPont analysis. They have put it in the infographics, and then they have done the ESG, which I mentioned that UN report. Actually, I saw this university doing this uh, ESG framework. So what they have done, this is the impact analysis. So what they have done, they have allocated scores on different matrices as per the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So you can use any other organization's matrix, but which you think you can apply and which you think is relevant. But anything new would definitely score extra marks. So now the corporate governance. So this is the ESG part. So they have explained the corporate governance, their corporate structure, and how independent the board is. So here I can okay. Let me explain. Here it was a tricky part. This company has a it's a family-owned business. You can see a lot of cycles here, but it doesn't matter that just because they're not very good on one matrix, it doesn't mean that their corporate structure is not good. So you need to make a case, you need to analyze each and everything before making that call. Just because looking at all the cycles and you will say, no, they are all family dominated business, so probably they won't follow the merit. So, and everything you can, it might not lead you, because it will open you up with the counter question. Then how this company is actually performing? Don't you think that a family which is in this business for last 50 years, who is better than them? Then it would be a difficult for you to answer. So if you are making any assumption and any assertion, you have a very valid argument to counter it. Okay, then businesses, they have explained, they try to put in as much information as in the infographics are explained with the heading. So risk to higher KIBOR. So they simply explain what risk metrics they have used and how it is performing on each metrics here. And then now the next year. So if you want to put in these your tables, I understand you have put in a lot of effort, but don't put in your main report. This is the next part. You can put in all your information about the key assumptions which you have taken to arrive at the valuation. Then what your income statement will look like in next 5 years, what your balance sheet will look like in 5 years, and the cash flow statements. So this is the report which was actually presented in the research challenge, and it was recognized. Okay, next question. Tell us more about ESG. How should we go about that section? Look, this section is actually tricky and very difficult to handle, because usually a lot of we are actually starting to care about this section. So this is about environment, social, and governance. So on the governance side, these are the three different areas, and you need to discuss each of these points separately. On the environment side, I can agree with usually Pakistani companies have started to focus on that area, but on the corporate governance and on the social side, they are already on it. So here, first information would be their annual reports, because almost all the companies, specifically the export oriented companies, because you know that for foreigners, ESG is an important thing. So usually they are actually working on it. I'm reasonably sure Interloop is actually working on it, and they would have put in a lot of information regarding their initiatives on the ESG front in their annual reports. I would suggest you start with the annual reports. It will give you an idea what to think and where this company is heading, and then you can apply your own valuation or your own analysis regarding their standing on the ESG front. Are there any recommended grading criteria we should go forward with? No, there is no other recommendation other than I already showed you. ESG is an open area which carries specific marks. So it is you how you want to handle it and how you want to present it. So I understand this might be the trickiest part. So but I think that annual report would be your first information, and I believe that you will find sufficient material to start your analysis. So this is the meeting chat. Let me check the Q&A if there is anything in the Q&A box. So I do not see any raised hand. Javeri, is there anything in the Q&A box? So I cannot see it.
No.
Nothing. Please, there is another question. Please share if there is a straightforward basis to compare companies on ESG, since they are not national official ranking as there are for international companies. Look, you have to put an effort. So if there is any straightforward analysis or the outcome or the answer here, then no one would ask you to do the analysis. So Simple, keep in mind, when you are doing an analysis, it means there is something which is unanswered. So just keep in mind, that's why we call it research. So if I am understanding your question correctly, so there is no straightforward answer to that. But to answer it differently, uh, regarding your phrase to compare companies on ESG, so what you can do is you can compare it with other companies and look at on the let's start with the environment side. So on if you are comparing a company on the environment side, then you can what you can do is you can see that what are the energy sources each one of them is relying. So you will have an idea. Another company has a coal fired power plant, and this company has a solar power plant. So you would have an idea. And another thing would be what is their consumption to water. So yes, it's a textile business and it uses cotton, and cotton is heavily reliant on the water. So I believe that probably a lot of company would be on similar scoring, but you can also always make an argument that one company is reducing the content of mm, cotton in their input, so they are using more and more polyester. But there will have a counter argument on that because polyester is derived from the crude oil, so it could be a tricky one to defend. And next is social. On social, usually we see that what this company is doing for the society around it. So you will get this information from their annual reports, and you can easily compare. On the governance side, corporate governance is the major tool which we see, which we analyze and try to differentiate between their decision making. You can always look at the directors, major shareholders of this company, and this whole section is covered in the annual report. So again, annual report is very important. I saw a raised hand, but oh,
They have also asked in addition to AR data. They've answered the question.
okay. So they are asking in addition to annual report data. In addition to annual report data, I do not think of anything which you can get from Pakistani organization. I don't think there is any organization. You might be able to find something from the research houses, which include not just include the sell side research houses, but also the credit rating agencies, reports, or maybe something in the media, which might be able to look at. But I don't think there is any, we can find it from any government organization or published report uh, specifically for the companies. I can understand, you could understand that you might receive this information regarding an industry or class of industries. So, but for a specific company, I really doubt that you will find any report from the government side. But maybe credit rating agencies maybe cover this area, but that would not be in much detail. I hope I answered this question.
So the session.
Okay, so if there are no further questions, so let's conclude this session. So please do not waste your time. Keep putting in efforts. So you need to find time, and you need to find a balance within your team and allocate your work. So this is the most important thing which you can do and win this competition. This is possible. Every university has an equal chance here, but here organization, how do you organize yourself, how you spend time matters a lot. Okay, thank you everyone. So now I'm ending the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you, everybody.